Hi, this is Omar at Top 5 E-Bikes, and this is a 300-mile review of the Aventon Pace 500 NextGen. If you haven't subscribed to Top 5 E-Bikes, hit the subscribe button right now. If we helped you decide on buying the Aventon Pace 500, please consider using our affiliate link, as we do get a small commission and it helps us continue making videos like this one. Also wanted to mention and let you know that Aventon did send us a Pace 500 so we could review it. I do want to let you know that all of the comments and feedback on this e-bike are 100% Top 5 E-Bikes as feedback, and Aventon did not tell us what to say about this e-bike. This review is going to include 3 parts. We're going to go over the specs of this e-bike. We're going to talk about our test rides, which will include speed, how this bike does on uphills, and then we'll talk about the app. And then finally we go over our final thoughts, which will include the top things we like and the top things we don't like about this e-bike. So let's talk about the specs of the Pace 500 NextGen. It's currently $16.99. There is a step through and a step over version, and there's 2 sizes and 2 colors that are available for each frame option. There's also the 350. So there's the 500 and then there's the 350, which is a smaller sibling, I would call it. So the 350 is actually $300 less, so it's $13.99. And with the lower price, you get a smaller battery and a 350 watt motor versus a 500, which is on the Pace 500, hence the name Pace 500. Obviously, the smaller battery means that you get a little bit of lower range, and the smaller motor means that you get less get up and a lower top speed because it tops out at 20 miles per hour, even for pedal assist. The other thing I wanted to mention about this e-bike is that this is a Pace 500 NextGen, and until recently, Aventon actually was selling the old version of the Pace 500 for $9.99. I think they're sold out by the time we're filming this, but just a couple weeks ago they had it out. The biggest differences are that the old version, that it doesn't have an integrated battery, or it didn't have an integrated battery, it didn't have integrated tail lights, and it had a little bit of a smaller battery. So this e-bike, and we'll talk about it here in a bit, has a 48 volt, 12.8 amp hour, and the old version had a 48 volt, 11.6 amp hour. One of the big upgrades with this new version, with this next gen version, is that it comes with an integrated battery, which is not only now partially hidden, but it's actually bigger than the original Pace 500, like I mentioned earlier. So this new battery is 48 volt, 12.8 amp hours. The motor is and let's get down here so you can see this a little bit closer. The motor is a 500 watt geared rear hub motor. So it's 500 watts, and then we'll go through this when we talk about top speed and going up small inclines, like what type of power and speed you'll get out of this motor. Yeah, it's a 500 watt. Also, one of the big things and one of the reasons why I really like this e-bike is it actually comes with hydraulic brakes. So you have Tektro hydraulic brakes, and it does come with a left thumb throttle, and we talk about this a lot. There's a lot of influencers out there that when they've put out their videos, they talk about the right half twist throttle versus a left thumb throttle. So this e-bike has a left thumb throttle, which I actually like. It does come with trigger shifters, so you see these here. I love trigger shifters over the big ugly Shimano gray thumb shifters, but this is a trigger shifter. It has a color LCD screen, which is integrated with the app, and we'll talk about the app in this video as well, and how you can integrate the bike once you purchase a bike, and then also how you can edit some of the settings of the bike. The other really cool thing about this e-bike relative to say the Aventon Adventure, which we've done a few videos on, and in the videos on that e-bike, I talked about one of the things I really didn't like was the fact that there was only one of these lights on the back, so which I thought was strange. But with the Pace 500, they've actually we got 2 lights, which is awesome. So you have the back light, and then we also have a front light. So you see this here. We have the front light, which I have turned on right now. But yeah, these are the specs of the Pace 500 NextGen. So now that we talked about the specs, let's talk about our test rides. And I do want to mention and reiterate that this is a 300-mile review, meaning we've ridden this e-bike for 300 miles. And I want to focus on that because a lot of reviews out there, they'll do a review after 30, 40, 50 miles. This is after 300 miles. So we've ridden this e-bike for a while, for a few months now. And we've been able to ride it mostly on roads, paved roads. This is, you know, obviously a city bike. But in this review, I'm going to focus on the comfort of the e-bike. We're also going to talk about the top speed. We're going to talk about how it does on inclines. And then finally, we're going to talk about the app and how you can use the app to actually change some of the settings of this e-bike. So let me start off talking about the comfort of this e-bike. For me, this e-bike fits me perfectly, or at least it almost seems like this e-bike was built specifically for me. There's something about the geometry of this e-bike for me and the fact that it has things like an adjustable stem. The handlebars feel great to me. It's almost like a glove that fits perfectly. And that's how I feel every time I ride this e-bike. So at least for me, this e-bike comfort-wise, out of all the e-bikes I've ridden, I feel like this e-bike for me and my size fits me perfectly. By the way, this is a medium size frame that we ended up getting from Aventon. So now that I talked about the comfort, let me share with you the top speed of this e-bike. So here's a clip that I recorded so you can actually see the top speed of this e-bike with throttle only and then also with pedal assist level 5. So speed-wise, this e-bike will go a max of 20 miles per hour for throttle only, and then by default, 20 miles pedal assist only. I actually updated the settings to give me a higher max speed on pedal assist, but let me show you how fast that goes. So we'll do throttle only first. So you hit 20, 21. We're going at a slight downhill, which is why we're going a little bit over 20. Now let me do pedal assist level 1. And this is in the 8th gear, by the way. Comfortably, I would say I'm going 17, 18 miles per hour. And then I just moved it up to pedal assist level 2. Same, pretty much 17, 18 miles per hour. And let's see this. I'm gonna bump this up to 3. So right away with 3, I can feel the burst. I can feel definitely the giddy up. So now comfortably at 21 with pedal assist level 3. Then I go to 4. Oh yeah, I can feel that. Now I'm at close to 25, so it's 24, 25 miles per hour. And then we go to 5, feel a little bit more. And I'm not huffing and puffing at this point. So I'm at 28. So there you go, it actually goes 20 miles per hour. I think a lot of e-bikes you see it advertised that they'll hit 28 miles per hour, and there's no way you can hit that comfortably. But with the Pace 500, for sure you can hit the 28 miles per hour. So now that you know how fast this e-bike goes, which we'll get to this in a bit, that you can actually edit the settings of this bike through the app to get it up to 31 miles per hour. But not only is speed itself important, it's also how well it does on slight inclines. So I wanted to share some footage with you where I go over how fast it does, or how well the motor does in going up a slight incline. So I'm going to test how fast this goes up a slight incline. It's not a big incline. It's a hill that I usually ride most of my bikes up. It's around 90 feet elevation change, and it's in about half a mile or so. I got Strava going as well, so you will be able to see that. And I'm going to do this going throttle only. So we'll kind of keep track of what the speed differences are when I'm going throttle only. And then I'll also do this with pedal assist level 5. You can see that the battery's 100%. And yeah, let's see how fast, how it does going up a slight incline here. Still going 20 miles. It's gonna start slowing down here in a bit. So I'm at 20 miles, and here's where the incline really starts. And we'll see on Strava, you'll probably see the drop in miles too. So now I'm going to 18, 17, 16, 15, 13, about 12.5 miles per hour. So, I mean, not bad, because this is kind of a quick incline there. I'm gonna turn around, I'm gonna do the same thing, pedal assist level 5, so we'll see how that goes. All right, I just got done going up a slight incline, throttle only, and now I'm gonna do it pedal assist level 5. So I got down to around 12 miles per hour. Again, it's not a super steep incline or super long. It's about 80 to 90 feet, and we'll have the Strava. I'm recording this one now as well. So right now, pedal assist level 1. I'm gonna do, here we go, 3. You can see the speed going up. 4. Let's do 5. So I should be getting speed-wise up to about, and I'm on the 8th gear, by the way, but we should be getting to around 25, 26. So that was around 18 miles per hour. I mean, if I was actually riding that, probably would have started switching gears and gone to a lower gear, but not bad. I think, again, it's not, you don't have the biggest motor on this e-bike, but it does fairly well with hills. I think good enough for a bike that doesn't have a huge motor or high torque. Talking about speed, and we mentioned this in the video, you can actually edit the settings of this bike through the Aventon app. And here's a short clip on how you can actually edit the top speed to 31 miles per hour. All right, so what do we got here? We're gonna actually pair up, and I've already done this, so I unpaired it, but I'm gonna pair this new, or this Aventon Pace 500 NextGen to the Aventon app, which is cool. So what you have to do is, on the little controller here, there's an eye in the middle of it. So you gotta press the eye, and then you should see this here. Should see this pretty well on the camera. But at the bottom, there's a connect to app. We'll click on that, and then now you see a QR code. So now we're gonna go to the pair, and we check the display, and then now you got a little viewer. Whoop. And then we're gonna call this, I guess it already read it. Let's call this NextGen. Let's see, it paired it. So there you go. And then if you could see some of the stuff here. It says how many miles, total calories, max speed, average speed. So you have quite a few things here. And then this should, if we go back, which, let's see, there we go. So you see everything matches on the screen. I have 256 miles at the time I'm filming this. And the really nice thing about the app is you can actually increase the speed. By default, you'll get 20 miles per hour. So let's see. So right now, we'll see what the max speed is. But if you go to the little settings widget over here on the top, you should see now screen brightness, auto power, and then speed limit. 45 kilometers per hour is around 28 miles per hour. So that's what it's set to right now. I believe the default is actually 35 kilometers per hour or so. So I think that's what it's set to, around there. But I had it at 45, which is 28 miles per hour. But you can actually increase it to, I believe, 53, and we'll see here. 53. So 51 kilometers per hour, which is around, I believe, 30 miles per hour, 31 miles per hour, which is a lot. So I'm going to bring this back down to 28, which is what I prefer, which I'm fine with. And there's also assistant level, so you can actually increase this. And I believe this one is to help actually help you on the pedal assist more, so you can edit how much it's helping you. So yeah, these are the settings. It's kind of a cool app, at least for that. And it is, I mean, it's nice that you can edit on the app, but then the one thing that I don't like actually is that you can't edit on the screen. So now that we talked about the specs of the Pace 500 and we reviewed the test rides, let me tell you about the things that we liked and we didn't like about the Pace 500. So let me start off with the things I liked about the Pace 500. The first one is the ease and power of the Pace 500. So a lot of e-bikes claim that they can go up to 28 miles per hour with pedal assist and 20 miles throttle only. This e-bike legitimately gets to 20 miles per hour throttle only, and then through the settings you can actually get to higher than 28 miles per hour. You can actually get to 31 miles per hour. We kept it at 28 miles per hour, but it was also easy to get to 28 miles per hour. With a lot of different e-bike brands, they might claim that they can get to 28 miles per hour, but it's tough to even get sometimes to 25 or 26 miles per hour. With the Pace 500, it was really easy to get to 28 miles per hour and pedal assist level 5. And it wasn't like you were ghost pedaling or you were running out of, it was just easy. And you could feel the power of the Pace 500. So I think that was definitely, for me, one of my favorite things about this e-bike. The second thing I liked about the Pace 500 was this classy redesign. This redesign is happening across various models for Aventon. We previously reviewed the Aventon Adventure. There's also the Cinch. So these e-bikes are kind of going through a remodel or a redesign where you see things like this new LCD screen, you see integrated rear lights, you see integrated batteries, and that's what happened with the Pace 500. And I really like this redesign, especially relative to the old version of the Pace 500. So kudos to Aventon in just the redesign of this e-bike and redesigns across a few other models. The next thing I really like about the Pace 500 is how they've integrated everything. So I just mentioned that in the classy redesign. Part of that was how they've integrated certain parts of the Pace 500, especially the rear lights, the battery. You see that they did a really good job also of just enclosing all the wiring. So they did a really good job of that. It just makes the bike look nicer. And then also, in not exposing all the parts of the e-bike, it makes it to where the components of your e-bike could actually last longer because they're not exposed to the elements. So I really like that everything, that they've integrated a few of the components of this e-bike. The next thing that I really liked, and maybe this is just a me thing, I don't know, the geometry of the Pace 500. So I feel like the saddle height, the standover height, the handlebar width, the handlebar distance between where you're sitting and how you're reaching out, the stem, the adjustable stem of the Pace 500. So all these things combined make it to where the geometry of the Pace 500 is great, and it helps you to have a really comfortable ride. And so for me, it was great. So I've been able to jump on this e-bike, and it's like not even a second thought. Like I don't have to think about, am I gonna trip? Am I gonna fall? That's happened with some e-bikes where sometimes, especially a step over like in this frame, where sometimes even though it's a medium size or a large, and I'm 5'11", but it's still too tall for me. But with the Pace 500, it was not an issue. And I just felt really comfortable riding. And you could see it in some of the footage. I'm just like, it's almost like it was a beach cruiser, but it's a city bike. So for me, the geometry of this e-bike, because of all these components and how they built it and designed it, was great. And the last thing I really liked about this e-bike is that it's made by Aventon. So the great thing about Aventon is that If you decided that you didn't want to buy this e-bike from, or any of their e-bikes from them directly, then you can find your local bike store, or LBS, what are called LBSs out there. You can find your local bike shop that's a dealer of Aventon, and you can actually go test ride the bike. You can buy it from them and they can service them, or you could buy it direct from Aventon and they can service the e-bike. So I think that's one of the great features of this brand relative to other brands, is that you can actually go to a dealer or you could buy it directly from them online, and then there's also dealers that'll service your bike for you. And with the Pace 500, you can go to a local dealer, buy it, and they'll service it for you. Now that I talked about the things that I like about the Pace 500, let me mention the things that I don't like about the Pace 500. So the first thing is, and this is a city bike, but I don't like the fact that it doesn't have a suspension. So it just kind of limits, I think, where you can ride. And if you want a suspension on a city bike, commuter bike, then you should look at other e-bikes like the Aventon Level or the Ride 1 Up 700 series, or the Rad Power Bikes, Rad City 5 Plus. So those are all great commuter bikes with a suspension. This doesn't have a suspension, so I definitely think it's a negative. That being said, it's one of the better rigid frame e-bikes that I've ridden. I didn't feel when I was riding. I took it. I mean, we're on sand right now, and I actually rode it on light trails, and you could see this in some of the clips of this video. But I actually took it on rough terrain roads, and it did fine. It did better than most rigid frame bikes, but it still doesn't have a suspension. So that's the biggest negative I would say about this e-bike. That's the biggest negative I would say about the Pace 500. The second thing I didn't like about the Pace 500 is that it doesn't have a rack, and you can see this here, no rack. You can add a rack if you want, so you could put an aftermarket rack, which is nice, but I think they should have probably included a rack, especially since it costs $1,700. A lot of these commuter e-bikes that I was mentioning, like the Level or the 700 series from Ride 1 Up, or the Rad Power Bikes, Rad City 5 Plus, those come with a rack. So not a big deal because you can buy one for $50, but I still thought that was a negative. The third thing I didn't like about the Pace 500, and I mentioned this also when talking about the Aventon Adventure, is that you have to turn it on, you actually have to press 2 buttons. That's probably not a big deal, but I don't know. For me, it's a big deal. I go through this often where when friends or family are riding this e-bike, we have to walk them through how to actually turn it on. So you have to actually turn on the battery first, and then you have to turn on the actual display or the button to turn on the bike. So not a big deal, but still, to me, it just seems like overkill. It's a good safety feature. That's probably why they designed it this way, but it's definitely not one of my favorite features. And the last thing I didn't like about the Pace 500 is the seat, or the saddle. For me, it wasn't too comfortable. We're at 300 miles on this e-bike. I didn't think it was the most comfortable. Again, it's not a huge upgrade, because you can buy a Cloud 9 seat, or you can buy any other suspension seat out there, and it would be a huge upgrade over the saddle that comes on this e-bike directly from Aventon. But for me, this saddle wasn't the greatest, and so I would definitely, if I was buying the Pace 500, one of the first things I would do is I'd upgrade the seat. Overall, we think the Pace 500 is a great bike, and one that could fill a need for someone looking for a city e-bike, a commuter e-bike, and even a comfort e-bike. The Pace 500 fills the need of e-bike riders across categories, and it actually does it wonderfully. It has ease and power. It's super comfortable, has great performance. It's stylish, as you could see from this sand color model that we got. And it comes with a ton of upgrades. And on top of that, if you wanted to, you can go test ride this easily at your local bike shop, and you can buy it and they can service it directly for you if you don't want to buy it online. So overall, we think this is a great e-bike. So thank you, Aventon, for sending us this e-bike. It was really fun to ride. We really enjoyed it. Let us know if you have any questions or comments, and thank you for watching.